Hey there, welcome to the Enduro Bureau's Round 3 recap and analysis of the S.O.R Sprint Enduro Championship that saw the series move north to just outside of Edmonton, Alberta. Let's take a deeper look at how things shook out, and as always, let's get started with the bottom line up front. First, Dylan Kaelin came into the race tied with series leader Owen McKill on points and in second overall after McKill had won round 2. But Kaelin dominated, winning all 9 tests and showing tremendous speed, especially in the morning's cross test, to take the overall lead by 3 points. McKill arrived at the race from Vernon, BC at 4 a.m. after driving through the night and was hampered by a lack of sleep and, more importantly, not having an opportunity to walk the test before the flag dropped. Still, he managed to pull off a second place result, and as the day progressed and he got more laps in on the course, he was able to show the pace we expect from him. Finally, with reduced pro fields resulting from the first round of the Canadian National Motocross Series taking place in Calgary on the same day, we only saw 2 riders in the women's pro class, with Courtney Schmalley taking out the win over Oshie Hampson. Now let's dig a little deeper into the story behind the race, starting with the pro men. Coming into round 3, it was Sherco Canada's Owen McKill holding the leader's plate for the pro men, but in a points tie with Kaelin. While Kaelin had come out of nowhere to win the first round, McKill hadn't ridden to his true potential there after some self-inflicted errors that put him in an early time deficit that left him riding to his maximum to come back for a P2 finish. In round 2, Kaelin again came out of the gates hot in the morning's cross test and eventually built up a 30-second gap over McKill with just the final 2 enduro tests to complete. This time, though, it was Kaelin's turn to suffer from self-inflicted wounds as he ended up losing the second last test to McKill and then crashed twice on the final enduro test under pressure from the Sherco rider, eventually finishing up in second overall. Kaelin had been open about how chapped he was by these mistakes and was looking to ride clean in round 3, relying on his ground speed and rapidly improving enduro test skills to take back the overall lead. He made a statement on the first cross test as he showcased his MX skills and speed on a very moto-style course, starting the day out with a huge 9.2 second win over McKill and 9.5 and 10.1 second gaps over Brandon Kowalczyk and Boston Montgomery, respectively. Kowalczyk was on fire through the morning's cross test as he was able to make great use of his local knowledge at the venue. It was great to see him showing out in those tests as he finished them in third overall, before losing time in the afternoon's enduro test to eventually finish in fifth. Getting back to that first test, we could clearly see that McKill paid the price for an early morning arrival after driving through the night just to get to the race. He was unable to get out and walk the course ahead of the start and only saw it for the first time on the sight lap. This test featured several large features, including some huge blind jumps, and with the test playing directly into Kaelin's MX background, this had McKill in a deep hole early. Cross Test 2 was another big win for Kaelin as he put another 7.5 seconds into McKill. Out on course, we could see for ourselves that McKill just wasn't sending features like Kaelin was, and it was obvious that this was costing him significant time. And what had to be an even more frustrating moment for McKill, when he was able to drop just under 10 seconds off of his cross test 4 time, Kaelin still put 1.3 seconds into him before dropping 10 seconds off his own cross test 5 time in reply. By the end of the 5 cross tests, Kaelin had a 31.5 second lead, and while the question was if he could hold it together in the enduro test this time, McKill needed to come out firing to start clawing back time from the leader. Unfortunately, his lack of time learning this new track hurt him again, as Kaelin won the first test by 5.5 seconds. To compound McKill's problems, the race organizers had been forced to drop one of the 5 tests from the afternoon due to delays for injured riders. That left him having to make up a 37-second deficit over the 3 remaining tests, and he was going to need help from Kaelin for that to happen. Spoiler alert, no miracles came to light. Kaelin won those last 3 tests to take the overall win by 43.8 seconds and the overall series lead by 3 points. Behind the 2 frontrunners, we saw some great battles and big movement in the field. Boston Montgomery had come into the round in 4th overall, but with 3rd overall Taryn Gerber missing the race for the MX National, the young BC rider was highly motivated to stay ahead of Jared Stock and take that 3rd overall position. Through the morning, Montgomery battled with Kowalczyk in the cross test and came out just over 6 seconds behind him in 4th place. Crucially, though, he put 11.5 seconds into Stock, giving him a great cushion over the Canadian ISDE World Trophy Team veteran for the enduro tests. In those tests, Montgomery's technical skills and wood speed showed as he finished 3rd in all 4 tests, putting another 8.5 seconds into Stock. Stock, meanwhile, did more than enough to get past Kowalczyk and put himself into 4th overall for the series, 7 points behind Montgomery. One of the biggest movers of the afternoon's enduro test was Elliot Boudreau, who came from 9th in the cross test to finish 6th overall. Boudreau is a great technical rider, but doesn't have the speed yet to compete for podiums in the sprint format. For him to finish within 45 seconds of Stock in the enduro test is a great result, and it also shows that the speed is coming for this young pro. If we step back and look at the first 3 rounds of the series, we see that it's likely that this is now Kaelin's series to lose. He's managed to win 22 of 29 tests so far, and he's looked very impressive across both the cross and enduro tests. While McKill has demonstrated that he can both beat Kaelin in individual tests and win a round, he hasn't shown the consistency yet that he would need to take the overall championship. If Kaelin can pull off the overall win at round 4, and assuming McKill gets second in that scenario, he would just need P2 in the final round to wrap up the championship. We're not saying this is a guarantee, but it appears to be the most likely outcome. The other big question in terms of the overall is if Taryn Gerber will be back for the final 2 rounds after missing round 3 for MX Nationals duty. Gerber was in 3rd overall after the first 2 rounds, but his 0 points this past weekend will hurt him. He's now dropped back to 5th, 26 points behind Montgomery and 9 points behind Stock. There's a chance he could overtake Stock to pick up 4th overall, but he'll need to be flying to ensure he picks up at least P3 and 20 points in each of the last 2 rounds, and also have Stock finish no better than 5 in either of them. And don't forget Cale Cuthbertson, currently in 6th overall, 1 point back of Gerber. You just know that he would love to finish in the top 5 overall of the series. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for all our coverage from round 2 of the FMSQ series in Quebec this coming weekend, brought to you by STP 1958. Also, we've got round 4 of the S.O.R Championship in 2 weeks. Thanks again.